There are a number of ways that a company can enter the global market. One is through exporting. This would mean that you could own a company within the United States. You could make your products here and sell them to foreign countries. A lot of companies export, just not all of them export in great volume. A company can also sell its license to a foreign manufacturer to make and sell its product. A foreign firm, for example, can take the process, trademark, patent, or trade secrets in exchange for a royalty or fee. For example, Fruit of the Loom has given a license to 45 items in Japan. What do you think the potential downside is to licensing? Well, a foreign company can break your agreement, take all your great ideas, and suddenly they're your new competitor. And if you're trying to sell a product on their home territory, you're probably going to have a harder time than they would. So if you're a business and you want to sell a license to a company overseas, how can you avoid being taken advantage of? Well, what a lot of companies do is they keep them dependent on certain components, and you can also register your trademark locally to protect yourself. Franchising is also very popular overseas. There's 32,000 franchise outlets in foreign countries, and 50% of McDonald's are overseas. Contract manufacturing refers to when a foreign firm makes goods under a domestic firm's name. For example, let's say you make Bauer pens, and your pens are very popular all over the world, and Switzerland comes to you and says that they want to make Bauer pens in Switzerland. They've got a great pen making company, but they don't have a good name brand. So there's a pen making company in Switzerland. They start making pens and they put the Bauer name on it. That is contract manufacturing. Another example is Levi's let a French company use its name to sell jeans to Germany. A joint venture refers to when a domestic firm buys a part of a foreign company or joins with a foreign company to create a new business. It's quick, but it can also be a very risky endeavor. An example of this is when General Motors joined up with Suzuki to create low-end cars for the U.S. market. They both had something to gain. They also potentially had a lot to lose. Direct foreign investment refers to when a domestic company buys or builds a company in a foreign country. An example of this would be if DuPont went to Argentina to set up a company there. This can be very risky if the economy is very unstable, if the labor market doesn't provide the type of skills that the company needs, or if the government is in turmoil. There were several United States companies that were set up in Latin America, South America, and were taken over when the governments were taken over by military coups. So businesses have to be very careful when they get involved in direct foreign investment, because this is when they have the most to lose. Countertrade refers to when companies that are engaged in international trade trade their goods or services for other companies' goods or services. It's an age-old bartering system where goods are swapped instead of using money. You've probably seen Nestle's After 8 dinner mints that they packaged specifically for Christmas time. But after the holidays one year, they had way too many of these mints, and they weren't able to sell them within the United States. Instead, they gave them to Atwoods Richards, one of the largest counter-trade organizations in the world. Atwood Richards took these dinner mints and they distributed them in Eastern Europe, where the packaging didn't necessarily signify the holidays so much as just winter. In exchange for this, Nestle got credits that they could use toward getting other types of goods like high-tech equipment, office supplies. So what these organizations do is they give so many goods to Atwoods Richards, and in exchange for that, they get other types of goods. Before firms in the United States consider selling their goods or services abroad, they really think about things like the politics within other countries, the economy within other countries, and the culture that where they plan to do business. Cultural differences can create very uncomfortable and sometimes disastrous circumstances. One example is of a U.S. county commissioner and 20 business representatives. They took a trip to Taiwan because they were looking for some new business connections. They brought with them green baseball caps to give away as gifts, but they were unaware that green was the color of an opposition political party, and also in Taiwanese culture the color a man wears to signify that his wife has been unfaithful. Another example is an American soap company tried to market washing machine soap to Mexican peasants. The soap was designed to have very few suds, but when Mexicans washed their clothes by hand, they felt that if the soap created a lot of suds, it was doing a good job. So when they didn't see very many suds, they felt that the soap didn't work, and so so the soap obviously didn't sell very well. There are numerous mistakes like this that businesses have made because of cultural differences, language barriers, and just not understanding what a society or a people of a country are looking for in their products. Some other things that businesses have to be aware of is that some countries lack an economic infrastructure. They don't have roads necessarily to carry goods to different places on a reliable basis. But many companies trade at a global level because there is a lot of profit to be made. Some other opportunities there is that some companies have figured out that they can sidestep restrictive trade and licensing restrictions when they have their headquarters in various countries. Depending on economic conditions, some multinational companies can move their operations from country to country, depending on where it's best for them to do business. And also, companies can tap into vast technological expertise by drawing on the knowledge of a global workforce. Global business activity will continue to expand because of factors like wanting a larger customer base. Obviously, the more customers you have buying your product, the more potential there is for profit. And also the need for additional resources to better serve customers. Sometimes a company can find cheaper or better labor or better raw natural resources from other countries. Also, technological improvements in communication and transportation will continue to fuel global development.